Good morning, everyone. My name is Mighty Stream. I'm going to do our March the 15th, just for today, in a meditation. Hope you're doing well this morning. Title of the meditation for today is Feeling a Part of. Feeling a Part of. The get-togethers after our meetings are good opportunities to share things that we didn't get to discuss during the meeting. That comes from our basic text, page 98. Active addiction sets us apart from society, isolating us. Fear was at the core of that alienation. We believed that if we let others get to know us, they would only find out how terribly flawed we were. Rejection would be only a short step away. When we come to our first NA meeting, we are usually impressed by the familiarity and friendliness we see other recovering addicts share. We too can quickly become a part of this fellowship if we allow ourselves to. One way to start is by tagging along to the local coffee shop after the meeting. At these gatherings, we can let down the walls that separate us from others and discover things about ourselves and other NA members. One-on-one, we can sometimes disclose things that we may be reluctant to share at the group level. We learn to make small talk at many of these late night gatherings and forge deep, strong relationships as well. With our newfound friends in NA, we no longer have to live lives of isolation. We can become a part of the greater whole, the fellowship of Narcotics Anonymous. Just for today, I will break free of isolation. I will strive to feel a part of the NA fellowship. Let's take a moment of silence, followed by the we version of the Serenity Prayer. Moment of silence now, please. Thank you. God, grant us the serenity to accept the things that we cannot change, the courage to change the things that we can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Just for today, please and thank you. So we're talking about feeling a part of, and I admit I was in awe when I saw how people were interacting. I was amazed. I was amazed at the camaraderie. For me, I had exposure to the fellowship and the outside of the meeting part of the fellowship long before I ever made an actual meeting. I can remember going to softball tournaments. The particular city I lived in would be in a tournament, with other home groups in Southwest Michigan. And I can remember a school bus pulling up, and I don't know how we had that kind of connection, right? That we had access to school buses, but a school bus would pull up and everyone would load up onto the bus and we would travel, going to, whatever field the competition, right? The game was going to be on. I remember being a part of that and not actually being a part of Narcotics Anonymous. I was an outsider looking in, and I was an outsider thinking about whether or not I was an addict. And because I have family members that were addicts, I just tagged along with them, you know? And so I think being a newcomer and being able to hang out with other individuals in recovery after the meetings I think that's where some of the decision making about whether or not you're going to stay, right? Because I believe that's a decision for a newcomer, just as it is a decision for anyone else. Am I going to stay here? Am I contemplating relapse? Right? That's why we say relapse is a decision, right? And so we remember when we say we are, but one of the things that happens when we fellowship outside of the meeting is that we begin to get to know people, and people get to begin to get to know us. And when that takes place, now we're forging a relationship that is not based on drugs in the sense of actively using, but it is based on recovery from the disease of addiction. You know, I used to go down to the cancer center many years ago. Initially, when I went down to the cancer center, I wasn't going there for any sort of treatment. I was going there to volunteer, and I would recite poetry that I had written. And I saw that this, not just one person, but I would see several people. They had these beautiful necklaces and these crocheted hats. And I thought to myself, who takes the time to do this? And I found out very shortly that people that have a lived experience with cancer, there's a group of them that get together on a regular basis and they crochet hats together and they make jewelry together. And those things are given away to individuals that complete their treatment. Isn't that something? Something as deadly as cancer in many instances, right? There's a group of people that get together and they honor that they have had that in common. Well, there's nothing different about our disease of addiction. We honor one another when we come together, oftentimes outside of the meeting, because the meeting is the treatment in a sense, right? We come together at coffee shops, restaurants, events, conventions. We do all of this because it forges the relationship in such a way that it can be very helpful to have those experiences that I've cited to fall back on when you get into that stinking thinking. Instead of leaning into that, you lean into the positive parts. I remember laughing so hard, having coffee after a meeting, and I can remember going from laughing so hard to crying because not tears of pain, but tears of joy that I finally was able to laugh again. Right? I was finally able to see the sun in a spiritual sense, starting to peek through my dark clouds of that disease of addiction and depression and anger and self-loathing. It was a beautiful experience. And it's one of the main reasons I'm still here today. And so I want for you to do that. I want you to break free of your isolation today. I want you to strive to be a part of the fellowship. You know, instead of just showing up to the meeting just in time, show up a little bit earlier and speak to someone you don't normally speak to, right? Sit next to someone you don't normally sit next to. Hang out after the meeting a little bit longer instead of rushing off to your car and heading home. Just tell yourself, I'm going to be at that meeting 15 minutes before it starts, and I'm not leaving until after it has ended for 15 minutes. And start opening your mouth and making yourself available to engage with other people. Because a lot of times the people that are rushing off or are missing the opportunity, the conversation about let's go get some coffee, y'all. Let's go eat. And I remember what we used to do, the newcomer, we would say, you want to come along? We would ask them, I don't have any money. Don't you worry about that. We got you. We got you. And maybe that person saying they got you really didn't have all of the money to be able to take care of your meal, but they knew other people were going to pitch in. They were not going to let you sit there hungry. They were going to make sure that you were well taken care of, right? And so offer that to a newcomer, but also if you're a newcomer listening, hang around just a little bit longer. And when you hear someone talking about going to get some coffee, say, hey, do you mind if I tag along? If you need a ride, say, I need a lift back here afterwards. Is that all right? Right? Or to wherever you're trying to go. They'll make sure that you're taken care of. That much I do know. And so if this is your circumstance, I want you to try it today. I want you to try it this weekend. The weekends are lovely times to hang out with recovering people after the meeting. After the meeting, you will find that other recovering people are playing board games and card games and, oh, sitting down at the park laughing, listening to music. Yeah, this warm weather is about to take place. And instead of letting it take place with you contemplating using, contemplate being a part of, feeling a part of. You're just one decision away from it. And I guarantee you won't regret it. My name is MightyStream. You have a beautiful day on purpose.